All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 777 Television, your home for everything Matrix Encryption. And I'm your host, Cryptic Creations. And in this video, we're going to do a little bit of educating, and we want to keep things as non-technical as possible. We want to keep this conceptual and as high-level overview as we can. We're going to be talking about something called end-to-end encryption. I think maybe you've heard of it, in relation to Gmail and other email services. We're going to assume that you understand what encryption is, what a key is, the difference between encryption and obfuscation, the fact that you can encrypt basically anything, not just data, plain text rather, not just plain text, but also files themselves, programs, gateways, passwords. You can encrypt anything on your computer, just about, and so what really is end-to-end encryption? Because even I was under a misconception that end-to-end encryption was being used by Gmail to protect all user accounts, and we're going to find out shortly whether that's true or not. But just sticking with what is end-to-end encryption before we get too ahead of ourselves, it is not a particular kind of encryption. It is simply a descriptor of the a quality or characteristic of encryption that you would expect, and that is only the sender and receiver can read the information. They're the only ones that have the keys. And so with end-to-end encryption, it's, serving basically the main purpose of what encryption is even supposed to do, make it so that only the authorized parties can read the message. And so when you don't have end-to-end encryption, that automatically, logically, deductively means that someone else, if you're looking at signing up for an email service and they're like, we don't have end-to-end encryption, that means that someone can read it besides the intended parties. And so this gets into the root problem that has been building for decades, really, that has inculcated and cloistered and otherwise partitioned and separated encryption away from the people and made it like this airy, this mysterious process, and you have no control over it. And we're here to change that. Let's, again, not get too ahead of ourselves. We're going to be talking about these issues a lot in the coming videos. And so that's what end-to-end encryption is. It's what you would expect encryption would be. Sadly, and we have to face the reality that it's not the case in a lot of cases. And so now let's look at how Gmail stacks up to the standard of end-to-end encryption, which is, again, is just the ideal no-brainer, that's what encryption is supposed to be, but they don't design it that way. They keep the keys from you. Let's look at this. So first of all, I talked to ChatGPT a lot, and I call it master. That's my thing. But we find out from asking, what's the deal with end-to-end encryption on Gmail? Do users have control of their keys, and what level of controls do they have? Well, we get a three-part answer here that begins with a caution, advisory. This feature of end-to-end encryption is not available by default to standard Gmail users. period. It's currently available to Google Workspace enterprise customers and must be enabled by administrators. So the encryption that you would, as I did, just assume you would have from the largest email service in the world, you don't have that security. They're handling it for you. You can also use third parties. These are, think of like if you've ever used a browser extension in your browser, then there are some tools apparently like Mailvelope and FlowCrypt that you can use with your Gmail to effectively achieve end-to-end encryption of your emails. Proton Mail and other email services. So the third part of the answer is a comparison where we look at this chart here. We've got features, can view keys, can rotate keys manually, can import export keys. That's 3 strikes. Does that mean they're out? So Gmail has like the worst scoring here and the least. You have minimal default user control, whereas Proton Mail passes with flying colors. And so where you would want to make your informed decision of whether you want to use Proton Mail or Gmail with a third-party browser extension or Matrix Encryption, the choice is clear. You know, this is patented technology, and we're going to get much deeper into that with the help of ChatGPT. And but the point is that Matrix Encryption gives, number one, we give you end-to-end encryption, so you have full control of your keys and your codices. We're not looking at any of your data on the web server, but like the other thing is just on your computer. Like if you buy the program and it's downloaded on your computer, then obviously, you know, it's just a local, it's compiled Python code, you know, it's not like you know. Anyway, so the choice is clear because we give you end-to-end encryption that is not free, but basically anything that's worth it in life, almost nothing is free. Sometimes you get lucky, but in this case, we are an investment vehicle, and so we just can't do anything for free. Otherwise, we wouldn't be fulfilling our goal of making our early adopters, our early investors, and ourselves rich. This is not financial advice, but we fully intend on integrating our own native utility token. It will be traded on exchanges and will be usable as in place of USD, at least partially, for future subscriptions of the tiered subscription to our online service. And but again, the big picture is that Bitcoin has taken the world by storm. It was not a pump and dump. Go look at the graph. It started at 0.1 millionth of a dollar, okay? And people made billions off of Bitcoin even back in like 2010, 2011, 2012, before most people even knew what the name was. And I believe that Matrix Encryption could be a 1000x opportunity in the making. I see the cryptocurrency revolution, the cultural shift, and I see a potential for a second wave of encryption, the second wave coming out of the Bitcoin revolution, the decentralized, anti-bank pro-autonomy revolution, and this second wave of it will be centered on securing the individual's data. In other words, like, whereas before we were looking at the monetary aspect of what crypto can do, and like, hey, this is valuable, to, all right, now we want to secure the data itself. Like, the crypto has gotten us interested in security because it made us rich, or made some people rich, you know, and it's at least a good hedge against inflation. It's a great idea to just buy yourself some Bitcoin today. Statistically speaking, the price will be higher at some point later in the future. And so, but the, you know, that enthusiasm will like simmer down and turn into a genuine interest in securing the data more of the individual, increasing autonomy. Remember, we looked at Gmail. You don't have as much control as you think. You don't have end-to-end encryption. They can read your private emails. It's just only the case that no one else can read them, but Gmail can read them. And that's just not good enough going into the future. You know, we're looking for a more privacy-centric future, and Matrix Encryption is going to be part of that future. We are banking and betting that that we're at the very beginning, as I was saying, of a second wave of interest in cryptography. But this won't be the cryptocurrency aspect necessarily, but the crypto for the protective aspect of it. And then, since we're like building a company around that and saying, hey, we should be doing encryption for its own sake, not because it's valuable, but we created it as an investment vehicle, so it ends up having a lot of value as time goes on anyway, since we will be minting our own cryptocurrency and NFTs. 777 limited edition NFTs available to only the first 777 lifetime members to our party. And what else can I tell you? So that's going to wrap it up for this video, I think. We tried to explain what end-to-end encryption is, and that you don't have it with the biggest email provider in the world. It's a no-brainer of process. It should be the standard, but it's not. And but it should be the case. And we're just here to point out the facts, give you some great new piece of patented technology, and ride that wave out. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to 777 Television, and head on over to matrixencryption.com and create a free account today for a 1-month free trial of our service. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. We're going to talk about a lot more educational content that had been sort of lacking, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.